How are we doing? What's going on here?
How can I help you?
Are you guys investigating Sabina Matos' voting?
We are, yes.
All right. Why isn't that being done in public?
It's being done because there's personal information for voters on these records.
Doesn't matter. You filmed the other ones in public.
We
I was here last year when you pulled up and matched.
No, we did not pull up personal information. So the process.
So why are you pulling up personal information?
Because the record contains PIIs such as their date of birth, driver's license number, social security numbers. So that's not something that we can allow to be released or found.
Yet, when it came to the signature examination to the gubernatorial race last time, excuse me, you had no problem pulling up that record. Are you doing signature comparisons, or what are you doing?
This is a review. This is research of every record. This is different than the nomination papers being checked. So we're actually going into every record. So we would go into your record, for example, if you were one of the signers, and when your record comes up, your driver's license number, your social security number.
So we don't necessarily have to film the record, but we should be filming the proceedings.
You could,
this is.
You could certainly film from the glass over there because they're doing it in the mail ballot room. However, you wouldn't be able to see what's on the screen.
What I'm interested in is the ongoing, I'm assuming, ongoing reflection of whether or not these signatures are valid or not.
This is a review of the process, which was ordered by the board.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can certainly see the pairs that we have working in there that are working on this. But again, this is not something that you'd be able to film what's on the screen because obviously we're bringing up personal information.
I understand that completely.
We
but
want to protect that.
Are you no problem there? Are you? But at the same time, are you denying or making any action on those records without? For example, let's just say Joe Smith lived in Jamestown, and we all know that Jamestown is the ground zero, if you will, of nomination fraud. I'm assuming you're looking at the paper, which, of course, as you mentioned, that contains private information. At the same time, I'm assuming you're making comments or determinations without actually reflecting. For example, you're not saying that 15432XYZA, that is the Social Security number, but at the same time, I'm assuming you're making comments about the validity of the records you're seeing. That should be public record. That should be open to the news media, as well as, quite frankly, citizens.
Unfortunately, we have to strike a balance between the privacy and the protection of this personal information for these individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that we can have out there being recorded. Obviously, you can go to the glass, you can see the process happening, but you're not going to be able to see what's on the screen. The review that we're doing is an internal review that we were ordered to do by the board.
Right.
And we're going to present a report on this to them at a subsequent board meeting.
Well, let's take a look. I understand
I can certainly take you over to the glass.
Yep. Let's start. Let's see. But the determinations you're making, I assume, are on each record, and as a result, because they're being made on each record, that information, not the information contained within the record, that information is in fact should be accessed public. See, the problem is has nothing to do with you guys personally. I know you guys, but the problem is that there's a high level of distrust over process. This goes back to virtually every scandal.
So we have this pair here. These pairs here working on signatures. They're going through each form, each line. They're verifying the disposition by the local board,
mm-hmm.
And if there is a change, if they find a change, meaning that their disposition is different, their determination is different, they're actually going to put down their determination.
Okay.
So we'll know exactly which ones are. They agree with the local board's determination, but then they'll also know if there's a change. So, for example, if the local board couldn't find a voter, but they're able to find them, because sometimes the handwriting might be not clearly written and the local board wasn't able to find the voter, and if they're able to find them and then qualify the signature, then they will note that on the documents there.
And the only thing that we're really looking for right now, and again, we respect people's privacy, in fact, we scream for people's privacy, is the ongoing disposition of each one. Let's look at the process that happened, as you mentioned, that did not include private property during the gubernatorial multiple candidate gubernatorial reviews. And folks, what you're looking right now is essentially, I imagine this is a sealed room. Is this a limited access room?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm assuming, I'm just saying this I get this, I'm saying this for the purpose of viewers now or after we share this, that these folks are certified examiners, that I'm assuming they have some level of statement that they've signed in terms of privacy and not allowing any information out. That's all good, but at the end of each determination on the gubernatorial nomination papers last year, what can I say? There was a statement and a vote as to the determination as to whether or not it was valid or not. Now, you don't have the board here. That's literally, during this nomination paper review in the gubernatorial race last year, each signature would come up and the board would vote up or down, sort of like a Roman Colosseum, thumbs up, thumbs down on it. In a sense, these folks are making it. I also believe this not to be a quote-unquote review of legal standing. No determination is going to be made except for internal purposes, correct?
This is an internal review, yes,
right,
by the staff of the Board of Elections.
Right. But what I am interested in is on an ongoing basis, the thumbs up, thumbs down of what's happening. That's what I'm interested in. Folks aren't, we've got an election in a couple of weeks. You're painfully aware of that, I know. Folks aren't interested in waiting for a report to be issued. You guys will do the hard work here. You guys will grind this out. And then sometime in late September, conveniently right after the primary election, we'll find out what the results of this are. The impact of this, I believe, has the reason why I'm here is because it has immediate impact on the election of all.
I think you're incorrecting that. I think they're making good progress here. So
I
think we're going to have a result much quicker than what you're stating. So
well, there's a result and a report.
We expect the outcome of this review to happen fairly soon.
I mean, are we talking days, weeks? No, and that's not a shot. It's just we understand that you guys are grinding it out. I've seen you in action before. I know, and I'm not patronizing when I say this. I know how hard you all work, but you'll generate your numbers up the food chain, and then it's up to when we will actually see that report and that level of analysis, and that's what we want to see on an ongoing basis, because you have an election in 3 weeks. If the election were in November, we'd all kind of sit back and wait for that fur to fly, but this is, and by the way, when does voting start? As far as
Wednesday.
Okay, so we're literally 6 days away from voting to begin, and we're 6 days away. So the report being issued before people start to vote, even with the best of intentions, probably not. So voting is going to be taking place, and voters will not know either yay or nay. And again, there's a reasonable chance that the Matos campaign will be vindicated, cleared of all.
We can't control any of that. We were ordered to conduct a review by the staff, and this is what the staff has done.
Right, and that's why we want to know on an ongoing basis.
So you can see here they're working at it.
But how about a little count?
Unfortunately, this is an internal process. They're protecting PII, voters' personal information here.
I understand that. All I want to know, excuse me, folks, it was a late night last night. All I want to know, and all my listeners and viewers want to know, is an ongoing count of ballots, or I should say nomination papers, that had been dismissed, that were then said to be okay, and conversely, all those nomination papers that were okay that were determined to be dismissed. That, I believe, is a matter of public interest.
We don't have a rolling count. We're not going to release a rolling count of
You
this.
should.
I mean, I know that they are more than halfway through. the forms.
Well, then at what point this morning, then, if they're halfway through the forms, allegedly it started at 8:30 this morning?
No, this started yesterday.
Okay. So at what point in time today do you anticipate them being finished?
They could be finished today, but again, that's not something that's certain. So
understood.
We anticipate them to finish this week.
All right. So if you guys want to set up a viewing area or something else like that.
Well, we're going to have a meeting where this information, the results of this review are going to be presented at the meeting. So at that time is when you'll get the information.
And when do you, how, is that going to be before Wednesday?
I can't answer that. That's not something I can tell you right now.
No, I understand. Because that's the $1 million issue. Voters have a right to know. And this is one of the problems that people have with all this early voting. Because there's information that's disseminated after the early voting starts that often has significant impact on the election itself. And so the problem I've got with all of this is that, we find out, let's say legitimately Friday, the following Monday, before people are given that news, potentially thousands of people will have voted. And whether or not the campaign of one of the acknowledged leaders and the sitting lieutenant governor of a state engaged in wider spread fraud is a major concern. Or maybe she didn't.
I understand what you're saying, but our focus here is to get this process done. When it's presented at a board meeting, is because
the other problem is that if it's going to have to be presented at a board meeting, there's 3 days, business days notice for that. So there's a very real chance that the review that you guys are doing right now will not be published. The results of it be published until after voting has started. And that's why there is so much distrust and so little faith in the system.
That's certainly possible, but remember, the board did not require a timeline for this to be completed.
And that's the board's decision. And again, not your decision. I want to differentiate here. I'm not assailing you or any of your, and again, not patronizing you. I know you to be very, very, very diligent on these issues. So I'm talking to you as someone who's a representative of the board, not you personally. But what I'm pointing out is the reason why so many Rhode Islanders have no trust in their government, have no trust in the voting system, in some cases legitimately, other times conjure up conspiracy theories, is because of exactly situations like this. There is so little faith in what you guys do here, which is unfair because the people that I've met, like you in the past, are trying to do every day the best they can and the right thing.
So we were ordered to do this at a 2 p.m. board meeting on Tuesday, 2 days ago. Here we are, less than 48 hours after that, and our teams have gotten through at least half of these papers.
Understood.
So I would say that's excellent progress.
No, and by you guys, remember, all right, think of this, and don't take this the wrong way. I look at this like, Stop and Shop. So you got the people in Stop and Shop who have to take the heat unfairly because they happen to be the people running the cash register. They're the ones stocking the shelves. They're the produce managers and all that. Whereas the problem is not used guys, as we say. The problem is the people you work for. And the people you work for, we don't trust at all. And I say we because I'll inject my personal feelings into this. All right? Wouldn't trust them with change on a $3 hot dog special. I mean, that's how little trust there is in the system. Right now, people who see this, and I will share this to high heavens, people who see this will assume right now, and the smaller but stunning similarity to all the other voting rooms they've ever seen, they will assume nothing but the worst.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but as you can see, they're going through
again, not you guys, it's not them.
I have no control over these other...
So if you'd like to meet while I'm here, because I'm going to be here for a while,
you're free to say
I would love to talk to someone. Again, don't take this the wrong way, because quite frankly, you and a couple of the folks you work with are actually the most valuable people in the building. All right? I would love to talk to the proverbial, if I was a Karen at a Stop and Shop, I would love to talk to the manager. That's what I'd like to do right now. So if you can facilitate that, be great.
There is no one else for you to speak to. I am the person here to speak to, and I'm giving you the information.
Who's in charge? Who's the highest ranking person?
I am.
All right. So, who's the director of this agency? Not the director of the board.
Posen, he's not in the building.
All right. And who else is in management?
Me.
All right. So you guys are the only two people. And who's your spokesman?
Chris Hunter.
And where is Chris?
I can give you his phone number.
Why don't you have Chris come here? Might be a good move if
I can give you his contact information. You can certainly reach out to him.
I don't reach out to people. I come here. I see people. I'm not. So if Chris Hunter is the spokesperson for this agency, where does he normally work? He or she?
He works in his office.
Where's his office?
Advocacy Solutions in Providence.
All right. It might be in his best interest to have him swing by if,
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to step away, but you can certainly film this. You're welcome to film this, and you can see that there.
Can you write down for me the name and number of the gentleman from Advocate Solutions?
I can get you his name, man. If you have any questions, but I just ask that you don't be disruptive in this process.
Have I ever been disruptive?
No, I understand, but we do want to keep a level.
No,
of protocol and decorum.
Again, you mentioned that there's private information there. That's all I need to know. I don't need to even, at the coalition, we don't put homeless people on camera, we don't put children on camera, and we certainly don't put personal information on camera. I'm more interested in understanding how it is that this determination on this is most likely, the public release of that is most likely going to go beyond the day that voting starts. And that's what I think people are concerned about, because no one trusts voting in Rhode Island.
I'll get you Chris's information.
Thank you.
You can reach out to him.
Thanks, buddy.
Good morning. Hey, how many people want to be doing the review?
Right now we have 4 here doing it.
Through the day, they're going to...
Which campaign are you from? Or are you...
No. News. No campaign. How many through the day?
Through the day, we have 2. We have 2 people cycling through. So depending on their availability, but they're more than halfway done.
More than halfway?
Yeah.
Good. I mean, we're going to finish early today.
We hope, but we hope to finish by the end of the week, by tomorrow.
By tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So you can stand here at the glass and see. But again, as I was explaining to Pat, the reason why we can't have you film the screens is because there is personal information on this. So when they look up, for example, your voter record, your driver's license comes up, your social security number, your date of birth. So that's just part of the record. So we can't have that displayed in recording.
No, we understand that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're still live here at the your Rhode Island Board of Elections. You see the process ongoing. A review is taking place right now by these 4 people. Non-disclosure form was a term I was looking before in my half sleepiness. Some guy called me at 8:30 this morning to say that this was going on. Oof.
Some guy.
Some guy. I was in deep REM sleep, folks. Yikes. That's all I got to say is yikes. So, this is the process. I guess they're going through, as promised at the Board of Elections last week. A couple days ago? When was the last meeting? It was just... Which is why they caught a lot of us by surprise. Because normally meetings are noticed, announced. This is not a meeting. This is simply, as they're pointing out, an internal review. Hence the lack of notice. Which I guess bought me another half hour sleep. So, we're going to hang here for a little bit. I think, unfortunately, what you're going to see is more of the same. We've reached out, or we're going to reach out, I should say, and find out how this is and when this is going to be released. This boils down to me the ultimate question: will the results of this be released before early voting starts? That's what really matters here. So I think we're not gonna see anything here for a few minutes. So we're gonna sign off right now. Folks, thanks for watching. Like and share the Coalition, please, on our social media, facebook.com/The Coalition Radio, on the mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio, and, of course, the mothership at CoalitionRadioNetwork.com. Mercy likes and pity follows and shares are thoroughly encouraged. And Let us know what you think on this. You'll see a Facebook post up soon. You'll see we're going to be sharing this to the wind. Folks, we'll talk to you in just a few minutes.